Did you testify, you did testify before the grand jury that President Trump had declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Is that correct?
I don't have the grand jury transcript. That's why I released it. Whatever it says is the best evidence.
That's what you said to Senator Whitehouse, that your grand jury testimony was publicly released. It has not been. In fact, in July, a court denied a news outlet's bid to get that transcript. But the court said quite clearly that you are free to discuss your grand jury testimony. So I ask you again, did you testify before the grand jury that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified document case?
And that is why I took your invitation to work with the department and the court to have that transcript released. And the transcript is the best evidence of what I said then.
So you're saying right now this committee can have access to what you said before the grand jury?
To whatever was released. Under my understanding, Senator, that the Department of Justice...
You and I both understand the law. Let me finish. I understand under Rule 6 of the Federal Rules of Procedure, a grand jury witness, in this case you, is not barred from sharing their grand jury testimony. This is an oversight hearing. This is germane to your integrity and credibility. You know right now whether or not you testified that President Trump declassified the documents at issue in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case. Why are you refusing to answer that simple yes or no question right now?
Because the premise of your question is inaccurate, and that is why.
There is no premise to my question, but trying to get to an order of what is truth or not.
How do you how do you know what was asked in the grand jury if you weren't there?
Mr. Patel, this is a mockery you're making of this hearing and simple questions.
It's a simple question. If you have
Mr.
a transcript,
Patel, during
you can
your
read the question,
nomination,
but you don't have it.
You promised that, quote, all FBI employees will be protected against political retribution. When I asked you, are you aware of any plans or discussions to punish in any way, including termination, FBI agents or personnel associated with the Trump administration, you explicitly said under oath that you were not aware of any plans to punish FBI agents associated with criminal investigations of Donald Trump. I don't believe you were truthful. Firing FBI employees based solely on the cases that they are investigating, their case assignments, is illegal, and you know that. A new lawsuit that's been discussed numerous times, filed by 3 FBI officials, alleges that you carried out Donald Trump's campaign of retribution, in quotes, against FBI employees for, quote, failure to demonstrate sufficient political loyalty. One of those plaintiffs has been discussed today, Brian Driscoll. Now, we know 20 years of distinguished service to the FBI before you terminated him. Special agent in charge of FBI's Newark field office, where he operated with distinction. Medal of Valor winner, Shield of Bravery awards. He's a patriot. You terminated Driscoll via a letter dated October 8th, 2025. And in that letter, you said that you were firing him pursuant to Article 2 of the Constitution. Well, you're not the President of the United States. And so I'm wondering under what authority you were allowed to terminate him.
That matter is under litigation, and I'm not able to discuss it.
Okay, well, discuss this. Did you have discussions with Stephen Miller about firing this particular person or about his continuance in the FBI?
Not that I recall.
How often do you speak to Stephen Miller?
Frequently on our Homeland Security task forces.
You frequently talk with Stephen Miller about subjects other than Homeland Security task force issues, correct?
I frequently talk to Mr. Miller about Homeland Security task forces.
Has Stephen Miller ever given you his opinions on how to run your agency?
Mr. Miller's interagency operations are invaluable to success of the FBI. That's what we talk about.
So you frequently discuss your job and your responsibilities with Stephen Miller and Pam Bondi, I imagine, as well.
Absolutely. She's the Attorney General.
Understood. Okay. Donald Trump promised to make us all safer. You have pushed out senior FBI agents with decades of knowledge and experience. In fact, this is the first time in FBI history that neither the director nor the deputy director have any experience with the FBI. You've shifted the agency's priorities primarily to pursuing Donald Trump's immigration enforcement agenda. According to ICE data, the Cato Institute, which is a conservative think tank, found that 20% of all agents have been diverted from their work to assist ICE immigration enforcement. 20%. Part of this operation is the work of mass law enforcement who jump out of cars, snatch people off streets at churches, schools, and their jobs and hospitals. Have there been any FBI agents who investigate crimes against children that have been assigned to immigration enforcement, yes or no?
The premise of what you say is entirely
Have there been
false.
any FBI agents
No,
who investigate
no.
foreign domestic terrorism?
You don't get to say America is not safer under this
I am
leadership.
not saying
America
that.
is
You're
safer
making
because of the work of the
presumption-
FBI.
You're making a presumption of premise.
4,700 children.
Sir,
we have
you
6,000 weapons and
you are not
23,000 violent
denying
felons have
that
been
FBI
arrested.
agents who
What we just witnessed in this Senate hearing is a stark illustration of how fragile the integrity of our federal law enforcement can become when political loyalty takes precedence over professional duty. Senator Cory Booker methodically confronted FBI Director Kash Patel about a series of alarming patterns that don't just reflect poor leadership, they expose systemic risks to the security of our nation. Booker zeroed in on a critical issue, the removal of seasoned FBI officials. These are career agents, many with decades of experience, who have dedicated their lives to public safety. People like Brian Driscoll, with 20 years of distinguished service, a Medal of Valor, and awards recognizing bravery and excellence, were purged or pressured out under Patel's watch. The ostensible justification, Article 2 of the Constitution, is not within Patel's authority, yet the firings continued. This is not just a bureaucratic misstep, it's an institutional violation that jeopardizes the FBI's ability to function as a neutral, professional law enforcement agency. Booker didn't stop there. He detailed how Patel has reassigned agents from mission-critical investigations, like counterintelligence and human trafficking, to lower priority roles or politically motivated tasks, such as immigration enforcement. These decisions aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They directly impact public safety. Investigations that protect our children, counter foreign espionage, and defend against domestic terror threats are being sidelined. This is a lesson in operational risk. When you strip an organization of its expertise for political ends, you create vulnerabilities that adversaries can exploit, and the consequences are measured in real-world danger. The hearing also highlighted Patel's evasive approach. Time and again, Booker pressed him on fundamental questions. Did he know about plans to remove FBI personnel? Did he mislead the public about the review of grand jury materials related to Mar-a-Lago documents? Patel repeatedly sidestepped, deflected, or mischaracterized his answers. For anyone watching, this isn't merely frustrating, it's instructive. It shows how accountability is undermined not through ignorance, but through deliberate obfuscation. Citizens need leaders who answer directly, particularly when the stakes involve national security and the lives of federal agents. Booker's line of questioning underscored the generational cost of these leadership failures. With thousands of experienced agents removed or reassigned, it could take over a decade to rebuild institutional knowledge. Consider the scale. 20% of FBI agents are now diverted from specialized countercrime and counter-terror work. Task forces dedicated to foreign interference, public corruption, and violent crime are being disbanded or weakened. When institutional memory erodes, the agency becomes reactive instead of proactive. Criminals, adversaries, and hostile states all gain an operational advantage. This hearing was more than just a confrontation. It was a lesson in the principles that should govern federal law enforcement. Agencies like the FBI are not political instruments. They are the backbone of public safety, intelligence, and justice. When leadership prioritizes loyalty to a political figure over the Constitution, the rule of law itself is weakened. And that is precisely what Booker highlighted, that the country's safety depends not on rhetoric, but on adherence to expertise, process, and accountability. As viewers, it's vital to understand the broader implications. This is not a partisan squabble. It's a case study in governance, institutional integrity, and operational risk. We can see in real time how leadership decisions ripple through an agency, affecting thousands of agents and millions of citizens. The lesson here is clear. Competent, principled leadership is not optional in national security. It is indispensable. For anyone concerned about the integrity of our institutions, these hearings are an urgent call to vigilance. Whether it's ensuring transparency on sensitive files, protecting career civil servants from political retribution, or maintaining specialized investigative capacities, the stakes are the safety and trust of the public. And if you care about the rule of law, the takeaway is simple. Demand accountability, follow the facts, and understand that the consequences of leadership failure are measured in lives and national security. If you want to stay informed about these critical issues, understand the policy implications, and see the real consequences of leadership decisions in Washington, make sure you subscribe to Liberal Lens. We break down complex hearings like this so you don't just know what happened, you understand why it matters and what it means for the country.